It's going to be on.
If I'm girl, I swear I love you. Anything I can do for you, yeah. You are the only one for me. If I'm bored, I swear I love you. I can't do without you. I said, baby, you are the one for me. I swear, to my mind to do it all. You fuck and your body like butter. That only you, I take him to the altar. Baby, oh, baby, oh. I swear to my mind to do it all. Boy, you bad and you make me melt like butter. That only you, I take him to my papa. Baby, oh, baby, oh. My beauty not play. Jella Carlo in my hand, you got to spare. Your sweet past, kill it, my baby, you know for me, my brain, then you check my head. Enough for nothing. How you make me say, what's on this? What's on this? La 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 la. When it comes on, la la If I'm good, I swear I love you. Anything I can do for you, yeah. You are the only one for me. If I'm bored, I swear I love you. I can't do without you. I said, baby, you are the one for me. I swear, it's in my mind to do it all. You fun and your body very butter. That only you, I take it to the altar. Baby, oh, baby, oh. I swear to my mind to do it all. Boy, you bad and you make me melt like butter. That only you, I take it to my papa. Baby, oh, baby, oh. You got me like, ooh, ooh. I love you, baby. Ooh, ooh. I love you, baby. Pull up to my, pull up to my, pull up to my, pull up to my bumper, baby. And you know I like it when you play with me. That one I used to you love me, cause they said, I wanna break my. And when you get it, you can never want to leave it. Running home from mama, all you want will about you and me, baby. All I need, baby. I say it's you and me, baby. All I need, baby. For me, I can live my life, never leave. I'm in a I live my life for me. Oh, and I will never leave you. You, and I will never leave you. You, I will love and I will never leave you.
Okay. Folks, I'm sure they have a power issue. They might be trying to switch from one source to another source. Just bear with us, please. Bear with us, please, 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 please.
The Moreover Media Group launches Liberia's first paid streaming platform titled Vibes on April 28, 2021. At Vibes, artists will make money from their work. Listen, listen, artists, download the app and create your artist profile and upload your songs and cover for free. Each artist signing up to the platform get paid as each artist. Stream their songs monthly. Users are going to download the app and pay a monthly subscription of $2 USD to listen to unlimited songs monthly using Orange Money and various online payments card. Vibes app is available on the Google Play Store and on Apple Store. VYBEZ. For more inquiries, you can visit our office on Fancy and Macklin Street or call them on the following numbers: +231 775 66872 or +231 777 304 or visit their website on www.theroviamediagroup.com or email info@theroviamediagroup.com. Get paid today as an artist for your work with Vibes.
Are you looking for a place where to fix your keys if lost or damaged? Or are you thinking on how to duplicate your home, office, or car keys? Don't worry, because your worries are all over. AutoKey Liberia is the best solution to all of your problems. At AutoKey Liberia, we are specialized in all keys programs and professional in other keys and remote support tech. We are located at Town Bourgeois Online. Find us at Clever Mission Junction, UAW Community. For more information, you can call the following phone numbers: 0777-337-808 or 0886-530-512. Do business with AutoKey Liberia and thank me later.
Welcome to Circuit, where you can find great quality t-shirts, hoodies, and other merchandise inspired by culture and creativity. We offer a variety of unique designs you can wear for any occasion that will fit your style. Visit our website at circus.com, ser-kes.com, and subscribe for exclusive access to discounts, new arrivals, and many more. Thank you for choosing Circus.
Are you looking for a property to buy or rent? Nigeria Real Estate has all the solutions to your problem. They have beautiful acres of land and comfortable homes for you to buy now. Register and incorporated, Superior Real Estate is bringing honest real estate transactions and a peace of mind to all their clients. Located in Pizio, Superior Real Estate can be reached on 0880 544-111 or WhatsApp them on +221 775 874610. You will not be disappointed. Superior Real Estate you can trust.
We all know the headache we go through sending money to our loved ones, friends, and family in Liberia. High fees, long lines in banks, the usual complaint of the system being down, such a waste of time and energy. That is why I was very happy when I learned that SendWave is now in Liberia. So now I can send money anytime from anywhere directly from my smartphone to the MTN Loan Staff mobile money account of a loved one, friend, or family within seconds for just a tiny fee. So download SendWave now to your phone from your Apple Store or Google Play Store. Add your details, and don't worry, they are very safe and secure. And start sending money today. Don't forget to insert the promo code PASTA to get free $5 credit added to your first transfer. SendWave is secure, super fast, and by far the most affordable way to send money to Liberia. I'm Henry P. Costa and a very happy customer. Thank you.
Welcome to the program. You're listening to the nation's premier platform where we discuss the issues that matter. Today is Friday, the 21st of May, 2021. It's 3:30 a.m. in Bear, Delaware, the United States, and it is 7:30 a.m. in Monrovia, Liberia, where Boakai, our co-host, is comfortably seated in our studio, and we're very glad to be here. Good morning, Boakai.
Good morning, Costa, and good morning to our many listeners home and abroad. It's good, bright, and early this morning here in Morovia.
So let's talk about. Give us a report. I mean, we know the whole thing. Everything is the interview we did last night. We know it's trending. It's what everybody's talking about. But give me some real feedback from people you're interacting with, radio stations, the things they're saying. Let's talk about it. Bring us up to speed. Where are we?
Okay, to be real, the discussion from last night is been aired on all radio stations here in Liberia. Their news carried this morning, and the discussion is, every morning that's a political discussion. So this morning, they will be discussing about it. What Dr. Allen White said here yesterday on the Costa Show, and in all streets going on. You go to debate center today, or JB Center around the discussion from here last night. Yeah.
Well, and what's the mood like? I mean, of course, we know there are two sides to a coin. Seditions clearly aren't. They feel sapped. They feel embarrassed. They feel like something terrible has happened. But what are most Liberians, because the majority of Liberians are not seditionists and the majority of Liberians are not happy. But how are seditionists reacting? Well, we know other Liberians are very, very happy, but how are seditionists reacting?
Seditionists are still in doubt because some are saying that, Dr. Allen White will pay $25,000 to appear to run a propaganda here.
And who paid him that kind of money?
By the opposition. That's according to a senior government official here in Liberia. And then
where did he say that? Where did he say that?
He posted on his Facebook page, John J. Backwell, the
superintendent. Who's the superintendent of
Great Basso?
You mean a superintendent posted that nonsense?
Yep.
So who paid Allen White $25,000? Tell me now. Who?
He said the opposition paid $25,000 for Allen White to come and run the propaganda here. And what Samuel Tue there said that you asked Dr. White a question like, the delegate from Liberia here, would they succeed in America? You anticipated something very important that they will not succeed, but your argument was turned down. So the entire interview was nonsensical or whatsoever. So people started he posted on his page. Yeah, it's on his page.
Did he not hear when Allen White said that, they will achieve very little? Okay, maybe he didn't hear that. Anyway, folks, we've got some news regarding that. Wow. So Janje Baba would say that we pay Allen White $25,000. What these seditionists need to see happen? Let me tell you something, folks. To the ordinary seditionists, your government is in a mess because it's not our government. It does not represent us. Your people, your leaders, they are in a very bad situation. They don't want to come clean to tell you the truth. They don't want to do that. What they want to do is to keep telling you or making you feel that all is well. That's what they want to keep telling you. They want to keep telling you that all is well. Do not believe them. For example, I've got some news for you. I've got some news for you. The delegation in America, They have not met anybody important. They have a strategy. Let me tell you what they've done. They've gone ahead. They have instructed the Liberian ambassador, George Patton, to have an event at the embassy and invite a number of this weekend. That's the plan. They want to do it this weekend at the residence of the ambassador, not the embassy, at the residence. They've asked him to invite, because he's the ambassador here, they've asked him to invite a number of congressional staffers, a number of desk officers from the State Department, so that they can make it look like, and then they will go and take pictures with them. So basically what they're doing, because they have not been able to meet anybody important, so what they've done is they've asked the ambassador, we want you to invite the people, have an event at your house. And you can invite just anybody in DC who can come. Let them come. Let some white boys come. You know, when they come, we'll take picture with them. These guys that you know that love to post pictures. Have you seen them post one picture? No.
Not yet.
They have not posted one photo. One photo. You know what Dr. White said yesterday? When I asked him, will the delegation in town achieve anything? These were his exact words. What they didn't accomplish will speak for itself. What they didn't accomplish will speak for itself. You know what that means? Nothing. That means he made to say, why should I waste my time talking, Costa? You will see, based on what they will not accomplish, and they're not meeting anybody. They're not meeting anybody. Do you know what the Americans did? The Americans sent the word all out. They sent the word all out. Nobody should meet with them. It's like you in your town and you hear some bad strangers that come into town. Criminals, murderers. So they told them, they said, hey, when those murderers come to town, nobody should meet with them, yeah? Nobody should meet with them. That's what they said. So they came to town, everybody just boycotted them. These guys have not had one important meeting. All that money they wasted to come to DC, which we told you would be a waste, it turned out to be the waste that we said it would be. Nobody wants to meet with them. So they're passing around in DC. They can't post any pictures before they came. What did Carrasco do? Carrasco went and took an old picture, posted an old picture, and making it look like the government guys were already in America when they had not even arrived. Nobody wants to meet with them because they are damn criminals. Everybody knows the MO. All the reports about them in DC are out. In 2 weeks, the Americans will announce, the Congressional Committee will announce the hearing on Liberia in 2 weeks. The last time a congressional hearing was held on Liberia was when Samuel Doe was president and the war was coming. The political situation in the country was tense and the war was coming. That was the last time. That was the last time. You know what they've announced now? The government people, they've announced that on Sunday they're having a, what you might call it, they're having a town hall event. They ain't got nothing to say. They ain't got nothing to meet. I mean, nobody to meet. So now they're having a town hall event. They're inviting Liberians from all over like America to come to the town hall and ask them questions and have an interaction. Nobody wants to interact with murderers and thieves and violators of human rights. Nobody wants to interact with these people. So my people, thank you, Abu Eba. When you tell the truth, then citizens say the men just let negativity against your country. This is what it is. Nobody wants to see you. They were posting old picture from last year, lying that they were going to meet with people. They're here now. They can't meet anybody. Nobody wants to meet McGill. Nobody wants to meet Samuel Twe because the people here know them already. Have you seen one photo?
No.
Except a picture somewhere to them posted with a man who looked like the Uber driver. Nobody wants to meet with them. So they've told the ambassador, my man, organize something to the embassy. Send out invitations to congressional staffers in DC, invite some desk officers from the State Department, anybody who can come. So we'll take a picture with them. Can you imagine, folks? Can you imagine how shameful it is? Very, very shameful. So they can talk all they want to talk. In 2 weeks, they will announce a date for the congressional hearing, and your humble servant, Henry Pedro Costa, will testify before the congressional committee. I remember when the U.S. Congress called a hearing on Liberia just before the war broke out. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf testified. Yeah, she testified. And guess what? Pedro right here. God being our help, God being on our side, we will have the opportunity to testify. Nothing is going to happen for these boys. I told y'all, say the Americans will not meet with these people. I said it. Y'all didn't hear it. Now you're not see. When I say y'all, I mean our people. The majority of Liberians, you believe us. Seditions believe us too, but they can pretend that they don't believe us.
They do.
They believe us. So now you have it. This is the situation that they're in. But I send you an audio, an interview that Prince Johnson had with a radio station in BC Zarawa. Telling you that picture to took that man loaded a Uber driver. When they arrived, where the man was carrying, he said, "Let's get and go take picture." I tell you, the whole government, nobody wants to have any. You know what it means for a government delegation to come? Nobody take picture with it. They had a meeting, the FinCEN meeting, the original meeting they came for with the U.S. Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, about the money laundering thing. And if people now let them take pictures, to say, oh, after the meeting, you can take picture also and go post it. They had a meeting with them. Now, everywhere they went, when they not the man want me, you, see you, we not want me, you. When they go so, they not the door, the person, we not want me, you. I say, tell a PP part, PP part when they break, everywhere you pass, the PP send be on you. Nobody won't be bothered with you. You go to my man, go take back. My man, go take back. The Harley man looking at. The pele man call it Weyakun. The people sent on there. Everywhere they go, nobody wants to be seen with them. Nobody wants to take picture with them because everybody knows that they are murderers, they are thieves. What Americans have said about that? Then you got stupid ball with Superintendent Greg Baza talking about we pay them 25,000. I look like I got 25,000 to pay somebody. Yo, now folks. I just sent Baga, I sent you that thing. Go and play. Prince Johnson did an interview, folks. I want you to listen to the interview.
Fiasco release going all over on the Facebook.
Hold on, Baga. Prince Johnson did that interview with a local radio station in Nimba County. It is not out there in a public domain yet, because it was done in Nimba. So we have the interview for you. It's 11 minutes. It's a little over 11 minutes, but it is extremely important, and we want you to listen to what he had to say. So, Baga, you will start that interview from the beginning.
Got that kind of fiasco release going all over on the Facebook. It's a
Hey, man, Baga.
Intelligence, security, and
you know what to do. You can't be playing nothing and you have messages coming. You got to turn your notification off or just turn the tune off. I beg you. Otherwise, it will be disrupting. Nobody wants to see them. They're passing around. Nobody wants to see them.
Yeah,
dear sister, Iman Sharif Willis, today is your birthday. We dedicate this edition of the show to you. Ima Sharif Willis, there in Georgia, you're a strong, diehard supporter of the work we do. Strong COP, compatriot. We say we love you and we wish you all the best. Happy birthday to you, Ima Sharif Willis.
Yeah, we can play now, right?
Hey, what's that noise? Choo.
As chair on defense, intelligence, security, and veteran affairs for 12 years under Madam Salif regime, where the international community poured in billions for the reconstruction of Liberia and the restructure of the security sector reform. Our key in that operation. The Americans invited me many times. I got communications, invitations, invited me to the embassy for programs and for dinner. They've been paying courtesy call on me. I believe strongly in America's dream. They have a strong justice system. They do not call you notorious criminal when you have not been heard in a court of competent jurisdiction. That is a pure propaganda document perpetrated by the propagandists who are opposed to George Weah and my support for George Weah. Our support for George Weah. They believe that it will defeat them 2023.
So, Senator, before we go to politics, why do you think this report is coming out and being published by Front Page Africa? Why?
You know who owns Front Page Africa? Ronan Shea. Ronan Shea have been in jail many times for writing fictitious publications. And the thing is that I'm saying to all Nimbanians, I served on this committee for 12 years. When the United States moved the world to pour in so much money for the reconstruction of Liberia and the restructure of the security sector reform, they didn't have problem with me serving under Ellen for 12 years. After that, when I was elected by the Senate to go to ECOWAS Parliament, where I served as third deputy speaker for the 15 countries in the sub-region, third deputy speaker for 155 members of the 15 countries. They didn't have problem with that. We work with the AU and the UN. So it's a shocking news for me when they are being invited me to the embassy to attend their defense attaché programs. So it's strange to me. This is not the work of the U.S. Embassy.
Honorable Senator,
propaganda.
Honorable Senator, we have the U.S. Embassy release in our hands here on our decks, and it is published on the website of the U.S. Embassy with the U.S. seal. Are you still saying that the report is fake?
I am saying if it is from the U.S. Embassy, then it's questionable. Because in that communication, they call me a notorious war criminal.
Okay.
I've never been to any court. I've never been indicted. How can you now, at this point in time, call me a notorious war criminal? How? When I served in that capacity for 12 years, and besides that, to be a senator and to be a chairman on defense, which is higher, which is greater, to be a senator. Our laws are patterned after that of the United States, the Constitution. And in that, a convict cannot run for election. If our notorious war criminal, as is being said now by the U.S. Embassy, according to the release you're talking about, the election commission will not have permitted me to even contest.
So, Honorable Senator, now that it has been established that it is on the website of the U.S. Embassy, as a senator who you have not been accorded due process, but they refer to you as notorious criminal, are you planning to take up issues with the U.S. Embassy?
No, because I know nothing is going to come from out of it. Because if you know I'm a notorious war criminal, you can't say we will not do business with the man, but we'll do business with the armed forces. Definitely, they have not been doing official business with us since the 12 years. Anyone who has served as defense chairperson has not been dealing with the U.S. Embassy directly on the affairs of the armed forces. They've been dealing with the government of Liberia through the defense. They deal with the defense minister and the chief of staff. Our duty as chairman on defense and the committee is to ensure that we provide sufficient money in the budget for their facilitations. That's all we do. So if you say you cannot deal with me, one thing I must let you know, the chairman of the defense committee is just a ceremonial head. The committee has 15 members from the 15 countries. And the plenary of the committee decide for the committee, not me. Whatever they decide is what we'll go by. So if you can't deal with me, and if I decide that it is my wisdom to resign, if I resign from the chairmanship, I will still be a member and providing my expertise. So what have you done to yourself?
Expertise.
Why don't you call for a walk or arrest me and deal with me right away? Then to just merely say, we're not deal with the man.
But you are a sitting senator, they cannot just arrest you. You were elected by your people.
I'm a sitting senator elected by the people. So you cannot call me a notorious war criminal, as the TRC has said, without being indicted by the court.
And that is why and that is what sending confusion among the people who elected you. How can they elect a senator and the U.S. embassy refer to him as criminal?
No, dear. I am saying to you, the U.S. judicial system does not. Everyone accused is presumed innocent until due process of law in court. That was never done. It has never been done. America got no case against me. I've never been sued. I've never been indicted. I've never been convicted. If that was the case, I would never have been permitted to even be cleared by the Election Commission to run. And to be elected as the Deputy Speaker for ECOWAS Parliament, facing countries in the sub-region.
Yes. So, Senator,
this is a political manipulation.
Okay, so it is political, and it is political. Okay, so now that you have been elected by your colleagues to serve, what are you bringing to the table from the 12 years you served during Madam Sirleaf's leadership?
I brought a lot. We helped the government of Liberia to restructure the security sector reform, and we've been working very hard on the security issue of the country. So I got a lot to bring, and I've been elected. We have our own judicial system. We have our own legislative body. We are a sovereign country, and I've been elected by my colleagues. I did not put myself there. So I'm a senator. I'm a chairman, and I remain a chairman.
So does it mean that it defeats the argument of Senator Dillon for the War and Economic Crimes Court? Does your winning defeat the argument?
Well, it does. And there are other legal instruments that defeat it, because you see, you have Article 97 of the Liberian Constitution that gave immunity from prosecution to all the 12 years or so, or 15 years as Amedo stay in power. They have that immunity. On Tiller 2, there's a 51st legislature that passed amnesty law for all factions in the Republic of Liberia. So there are legal and constitutional provisions that stop anybody from breaking war crime code. Thirdly, the ICC, the International Criminal Court, does not have Liberia on its list for prosecution, because the Rome Statute that established the ICC was ratified by the Liberian legislature long after our war. So it's not retroactive. So they're just making noise. It's just a noise.
Okay, thank you. So
you believe me, it's a noise. It's not going to come. If I did not fear bullets and machine gun and war tanks, I won't fear war crime code, because there are legal ramifications. When bullet hit you, you go. But when they sue you in a court for anything, you got a legal counsel. When that time comes for war crime code, which I do not see coming, there will be more lawyers, competent criminal and civil and human rights lawyer on my side to defend me, and I will be acquitted. But Dillon has not been pursuing that. He's a senator who's supposed to put a bill on the floor for debate for war crime code and lobby his police to take side with him. He has not been doing that. But rather, when you're discussing national issue, far away from the war crime code, by the time he sees me enter the Senate, war crime code will come, pointing to me and making mockery. And that's why I don't like.
Senator, some may say, before you leave us, some may say, since indeed you have all the legal reliance that there will be no war crimes code in Liberia, commenting on the issue of war crimes code when it is raised, will also raise eyebrow. Why don't you just forget about it, and whenever they talk about it, you act like it doesn't exist?
You see, it's my duty as a Liberian to help educate, to help inform. War crime code is not brought into the country by just talking on radio. War crime code is not brought by propaganda. It is the government of Liberia or any country that brings war crime code when they find it necessary. So why don't you put a pressure on the government? Why don't you read the government, and then it will be discussed? We are not against it. If you look, they kill our people in Lutheran Church. They took our 300 baby dumb in the well. They kill our people, UN compound, all the places. We know that. So I will want war crime code to come. But we who were attacked and asked to leave
But
our
one
country.
minute he said he wanted it. Next minute he said he wanted it.
When you see me and begin to make mockery, it annoys me. It brings before me a picture of the 300 people being thrown in the well upside down alive. It brings to me a picture of the Lutheran Church and JFK massacre. So you just do it legally, it will be okay then to single me out among all the people who fought in this country, single me out and begin to make mockery. Or the 14 years war, I only fought 9 months when I got through, I left the country. So the 13-year war behind me, I was not here. So when you start to make mockery, then it's not good. You do it legislatively by putting a bill or the document on the floor of the Liberian Senate and lobby your colleagues. And then when it's time for me to speak, I'll be speaking by presenting documentary evidence why there should be no war crime code. I got so many documents in my archive, in my safe. So I don't need plenty talking. But sometimes when people single you out and make mockery of you and try to make fun, bad soul get bad medicine. So they need to respond. Because I'm the spokesman for all the factions in the republic, as was decided upon through a document signed by all of them at my residence. We represented to the Methodist Church. The Council of Church.
Spokesman for all the rebel.
When the noise for war crime code on an Ellen regime, he came to me, we met at my house, and we came up with a resolution. You touch one, you touch all, and that there is an amnesty law. The CPA did not call for that, but the TRC were manipulated politically. That's why it broke into two, it divided into two, 4 against war crime code, because that was not what the TRC was about. So I'm not afraid.
So that's it, Costa.
Well, folks, there you have it. That's an interview Prince Johnson did a couple of days ago on a radio station in Nimba County. He is saying, on one hand, he's not afraid of the war crimes code because he didn't do anything bad. He only fought a war for 9 months, then he left. On the other hand, he says no war crime code will come, and the people should stop talking about it, and it makes him mad, and he doesn't like to hear that. Larry, what do you make of that? The man has no remorse.
Costa, before Larry come in, let me just inform you, according to a local radio station here, Senator Prince Johnson has been given a week to, denounce his position as a chair on defense in the House. So
given a week by whom?
By the Senate now. They came out together yesterday after the report from, the release from the U.S. Embassy.
Shame on them, man. We won't hear that nonsense. Larry, what's up, my brother?
Good morning, Pedro. Good morning, my brother. Hey, Boyka, how you doing today, my man?
I'm okay.
My man, Prince Johnson is in denial. That whole misconception that because he's a senator, he hasn't been classified as a criminal. The man has no idea. Wasn't it the U.S. that ran to Panama and grabbed a sitting president, Noriega, and threw his butt in jail in Florida? Prince Johnson, he has no idea what he's talking about. They put this guy in prison for drugs, money laundering, and a whole lot of stuff. Isn't it the U.S. that has a pending extradition right now against the former finance minister from, what is it? I think it's Mozambique or one of those countries. Prince Johnson has no idea. Where Prince Johnson is going to get hooked is the death of Linda Jury. Linda Jury, if you commit a crime, if you look at, I think it's Title 18 of the United States Code. If you look at that title, the U.S. has extraterritorial rights to grab anyone who either harmed a U.S. citizen or who is a U.S. citizen and committed a crime overseas. Yesterday, first of all, congratulations on pulling over, 7,200 people. That was significant. That shows, man, your connection for you to sit over 4,000 miles away and be able to pull people in Liberia like that. That is significant. Prince Johnson is in denial, man. He has no idea what's coming for him. He's in denial.
So, Larry, the thing here is that when you listen to him consistently, he shows no remorse.
None whatsoever. And that's the first step to accepting some type of a responsibility, showing some remorse. And then people can say, okay, but we still need, this is what I don't understand. Who are these people who are against having justice? War crimes court. Who are the people who are against it? Prince Johnson is trying to be slick. He's trying to say, oh, now this is a fight against the president. No, it's people are trying to get justice for victims of atrocities. There are rules to engagement in war. You can't simply go ahead and just start murdering, raping, torturing people like that. There are rules to engagement. So the guy, he's going to get hooked. The whole ninja jury thing, I'm sure the FBI has something on this guy. And wasn't it the U.S. that went over in Pakistan with SEAL Team 6?
Without even telling
the Pakistani government.
Yeah, the Pakistani government.
And it took out bin Laden.
Yep.
He has no idea what he's talking about. None whatsoever,
Now, Larry, let's move on to this, the Alan White interview, which, by the way, is a trending thing today and for the days to come. A couple of things. When I asked Alan White about what are the, what to expect of the Liberian delegation in the U.S., and he said, well, I say this, what they will not accomplish will speak for itself. What do you think he meant by that?
That was a significant statement right there, because remember now, the Chris Smith testimony that went on, calling the government a kleptocratic government, looking at the 2020 Human Rights Report with the extrajudicial killing, the arbitrary arrest, what Alan White is actually saying, in other words, is, look, these guys are not going to meet with anyone significant. They're not going to meet with anyone significant. And if they do meet someone significant, it will more than likely be to chastise them. It would be to chastise them, because there's some serious corruption, serious crimes taking place in the country where no one is being held accountable whatsoever. Biden coming in, the Democrats are all about the rule of law and about justice. So for Biden to be seen as weak and kind of kowtowing to kleptocrats, I can see that happening. So that's what Alan White is trying to put out there. They're not going to really have a significant meeting out here, to kind of do a photo op and kind of brush all of the things going on in the country. But one thing, let me touch on the interview, another point. He made a comparison to Madabio in Sierra Leone. After the special courts was set up in Sierra Leone has moved on. Madabio he got the MCC compact. He's building a resort. Recently, the country has moved on. The foreign direct investments are starting to flow in because people are not able to see, hey, they don't have this whole thing about war crimes court dangling over their head. They've done that. They've moved on. That is what is holding Liberia back right now. The lack of justice for people who suffered from the atrocities of war crimes from the Civil War. So that was a great interview.
Yeah. Now, and another thing he said, the soon to be announced congressional hearing, according to my sources, in 2 weeks, they announced the date. Now, Larry, the last time a congressional hearing on Liberia was held was just before the crisis broke out. Now, we don't expect there's going to be a crisis in the sense that, armed crisis, but that's not a normal thing. How do you think this government could position itself? What can they do to prevent some of these things that are coming?
Action speaks louder than words. Don't just go over to the United Nations, make mere words, and your actions. And Alan White picked up on that too, that when the president landed at the airport, he flipped. And even recently, there was an article where I think Musa Dean was being accused of making false statements when he said that the government was taking actions against war crimes. You have to make serious statements, and you have to follow it up with actions. Liberia has a huge potential to develop. There is no reason why Liberia is, I think, we see the data out there. Liberia is like one of the poorest countries. I think within the last, they maybe ranked like 2 or 3 in terms of being poor. The people over there are struggling because the country is not being developed. Corruption is a development killer. So I can't see the people that are coming and supporting a government that is being classified as kleptocratic. The hearing comes out, you think, I don't think the hearing is going to create the kind of confusion that people are insinuating. it's going to be very helpful. I hope Liberians can unite under one thing: justice. If there's anything else, it shouldn't be partisan. It shouldn't be driven by tribalism. It shouldn't be driven by anything. It should just be rule of law, support for Liberia. That should be the one thing that should bring us all together. But it seems to be Prince Johnson saying, people are doing this thing because Madam Salif did it, nothing happened. They're doing it to attack Weah. No one is attacking President Weah on it. Are you saying that seditions didn't suffer from the atrocities committed during the war?
Exactly.
What kind of logic is that?
It doesn't make any sense. Now, Isaac, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good. Now, Isaac, let's just swing over to you. You know, Prince Johnson is trying to make this thing look like, okay, it's political. The folks don't want me to support George Weah. What do you think George Weah needs to do here? This is a war criminal who has just been recently condemned by a statement, very strongly worded statement, not the usual diplomatically nuanced statements, you know? This one is strong. And they've condemned this man. It's a repudiation of Prince Johnson, and Prince Johnson continuing to hedge himself to Weah. What do you think Weah needs to do?
Weah needs to distance himself from Prince Johnson, or he needs to 1,000% support Prince Johnson. Say, I stand with my man. My man is a killer.
I like that. Yeah, but only two things he could do.
There is no in between. Weah cannot be soft on this issue. He has to take a stand. And it's very important that he distinguishes where he stands from. Historically, people have said, oh, Weah is man of peace, right? And that was one of the things that attracted me. He was not involved in the war, even though
that was one of his selling points.
There has been accusations of him being supporting one group or another, but nothing has been proven as far as I know. So he needs to take a stand. And as Mr. White, Dr. White said, he went before the international community and made a plea, you know, for support for a war crimes court. Came back to Liberia, and our whole posture disappeared. So where does he really stand? I know before I joined the CDC, I was a big war crimes court, war and economic crimes court advocate. That was one of the attractions, as much as Moba Malu, you know, and the rest of the people in the CDC were maligned and, you know, denigrated, degraded, whatever. I saw that as a selling point to be a part of that organization. So for them to move away from it, or for them to find, like, I want to say idiotic, you know, arguments about why we shouldn't have a war crime code. And the last time I posted, I gave reasons why a war crime code is beneficial for Liberia. So let them tell us why we should not be having a war crimes code. Let George Weah tell us why his position changed and why he would be the umbrella, you know, for Prince Johnson or any other war criminal that may be in his government. So at this point, I don't think it's a situation. I think significant number of Liberians are aware of the benefits of a war crime code and want it to happen. So it's up to us in terms of whether it's a grassroots movement, whether it's a pressure group. There are other groups out there already. So nobody has to reinvent it. We say, oh, I started a movement for war crimes code.
No.
Let's scan the landscape, see the organizations that are out there who really want to work together and collaborate on something like this. And we work together to continue to put pressure, because at the end of the day, from our constitution, it's about the people. And we, the people, are committed to getting something to happen and have a serious grassroots movement about, you know, war crimes code. War crimes code will appear.
Thank you. Guys, let me throw this out there. I think you just came in, so Larry has already effectively touched on this. The delegation, they're winding down. They've announced a town hall event for Sunday, slated for Sunday. I don't know whether you guys are going there. I think you're much closer from there than Larry and I are. But I know I'm not going to go. But they haven't posted any pictures, guys. And I said, what do you think is happening?
Well, my thing is, for a group of people who need wins, who need something positive, obviously, in my mind, nothing is happening, or it will be all placarded all over social media for people to see. I mean, to be excited that our Minister of Finance, our Minister of State got visa to come to the US, for that to be like the crowning moment and win, it just tells me that they don't have that standing, you know. So I don't know what a town hall meeting would be about. What would it tell us? You know, I can see myself wasting 2-3 hours of my day to go and listen to, you know, I don't know, some superficial discussion and somebody trying to regulate the conversation and not giving people enough time to really see what the issues are with this government. They really want a town hall. A town hall should be an open forum where there's really a give and take. So if they can't really come openly and say what this is going to be about, then you know, I will not waste my time to participate. And don't let it be misconstrued. Most of us here, I believe, want to see this government successful. Because I don't believe
I
that.
want to see them succeed myself.
Yes, I don't believe that if the government is unsuccessful, it's the best interest of Liberia, because we got another 2.5 years to go under this leadership. So let them be able to do some positive things. Let them be able to help the Liberian people. Let them be able to make a difference. I mean, even if the only thing they can do today is to create an enabling environment, business environment for Liberians to be able to do their own thing and get into that space of, you know, being businesses, thriving, that we can start to develop some kind of middle class in Liberia, that would be wonderful. That's something they can do. And it's not that difficult for them to open the space up for more Liberians to be active. Many Liberians have their own resources to do that, especially those in the diaspora. But be friendly. Don't deprive Liberians of the right to be an active part of the economy. So there's just some simple things that they need to do to kind of rebrand and rebuild. But I just do not see them doing it.
Larry, you know, these guys came to DC hoping to do a photo op, essentially. And they're going back with nothing. How do you think they're going to feel? Do you think this is going to send them a message that they need to wake up and recalibrate?
You know, a lot of times when you have foreign dignitaries come to the U.S., when they leave, they always leave with something in hand. Maybe they've locked down a new contract. Maybe they've locked down development money. Maybe there's something tangible in terms of a return on investment of coming over here. I would love to see when they go back and they hold a news conference and they explain what was the value, what was the benefit of coming over here. I don't see anything happening. I don't see the U.S. investing more than it's investing right now in Liberia under the current strategy they're using. And matter of fact, when they go to the town hall, they're going to get peppered with a lot of questions related to war crimes, because war crimes right now is trending. So if they go into a town hall and they're staging the town hall, they got to be ready for it. So what are some of the legit answers they're going to offer? Number one, are you against the war crimes court? What are you going to do? Dance around it? If you're going to say no, well, then you're going counter to what the U.S. right now is supporting.
And they don't want to be in America and go counter to what the U.S. is supporting.
That is a big no-no. A big no-no, because if the U.S. is your number one provider of aid, and this is why you need to develop your country so you're not relying on foreign aid. That's the big reason, because you don't want people dictating your foreign policy to you.
Well, let's see what's going on with the Costa.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, Isaac, recently the French president, Emmanuel Macron, whom George Weah touts as his good friend, and he says he has a great relationship with the French. Of course, he did when he played sports. Had called a very major summit under the banner of financing African economies to help them, salvage their broken economies thanks to COVID. At the end of the summit, $100 billion was committed by a number of European countries to be channeled through the IMF under the special drawing right platform. Special drawing rights. Those countries, those funds will be available by end of October. By October, I don't know, end, beginning, whatever. But Liberia was not invited. The Ghanaian president was there. Isaac, you muted yourself. Unmute yourself, Isaac.
Sorry, my apologies. Henry, I don't know if you saw it, but I did a post about that. I did a post about that summit. So who is helping this government scan the international landscape to see what activities are going on? If they talk about African countries and African economies, Liberia is a part of that. Are we turning into a pariah nation? People don't want to touch us.
That's what it looks like.
Instead of trying to seek admission to the U.S., Liberia should have been fully represented at that particular conference.
Trying to get some of that money.
Yes, and I posted, a list of who were attending. I posted a link of some of the actual activities and the commitment. I posted a list of the head of the IMF talking about the opportunity, as well as the Ghanaian president. He shared pictures with him and Macron. And that's one of the things when I was a sedition and we're just coming to power back in 2018, I was excited about, because France does have a lot of money. France has support, and Macron supposedly have been a real admirer of George Weah from his soccer days. So for us to get to this point and not even to get anything substantial, especially after the first visit to France, I was a little disappointed. But now it's manifesting that France does not have that much interest in what is happening in Liberia. And we have not had a foreign policy posture where we are fully engaged with these people and trying to be transparent. Because transparency and accountability, I don't know how we want to say whether these people, when they come to our country, they are corrupt too or whatever they do. They demand that as part of the deal for providing support, for providing assistance, for being able to give you loans. And if we can't meet that benchmark that is set, it's going to be difficult for us to exist. And people say, oh, we're supposed to do our own thing. We're a sovereign country. Yes, we're a sovereign country, but how much of true independence do we have from an economic perspective, or from being able to manage our country ourselves? We don't.
But Pedro, Isaac, would you be willing to throw your money to a country, to a government where you have ambassadors from other countries have written to the government and say, look, listen, you guys are misappropriating our money. You're taking development money and commingling it with your regular money. The letter they wrote to the finance ministry.
Definitely.
People are afraid to send money over there.
You see, unlike us in Liberia, who don't make government account for what they do, these people have systems. The European people, they will demand, why are you giving money to a corrupt country? What is the benefit that is in it for us to use our taxpayers or our own sovereign fund or whatever source of revenue that they are sending back to Africa for these people? So we are in a very tough situation, and these guys will really, really consider where they want to go and how they want to move, how they want to govern this country and build relationships with other countries. What is that? The being of the existence of Liberia today. On what are we standing? And that's what we have to identify.
Beautiful. Now, Larry, just after the summit, the Ghanaian president, Nana Akufo-Addo, was able to secure $177 million. 177 million euros, which is equivalent to $270 million from the EIB, the European Investment Bank, for the establishment of a new national bank of Ghana called the Development Bank Ghana, to lend to private sector to help stimulate. This is nearly $250 million to be used, injected into the veins of the Ghanaian economy. Imagine the opportunities. $200 million, guys. What do you think of that?
Look, one of the things that I tell my students when I'm teaching my finance and economics class is no country has ever developed without having access to capital, without having a capital market, without building the financial sector. Never going to happen. Ghana, unlike Liberia, Burkina Faso, and some other countries over there in our whole ECOWAS region, Ghana has very good credit rating with the three big major credit rating agencies, right? Liberia doesn't have a credit rating. Liberia is not going to develop when you have banks, some of the banks in the country cannot pay, they're not getting, people are not paying loans to those banks. Those banks are undercapitalized. The central bank is not doing a good job over there. Last week when we did the show, people were chiming in and saying, look, listen, I don't trust the banking system because when I put my money in there, I can't get it out. When you have the minister of state who can go in and arrest the president of a bank because he thinks the president is stealing his money rather than leave it to the judicial system, it tells you that people don't have a rule of law, a clear delineation between government and finance. It's like the government is trying to run everything. You can't do that. But Ghana is doing well because, number one, they have good credit rating, they have good governance, they have transparency. When you have the only reason sometimes why Liberia will try to be transparent because the information will already be on the internet. You see how Prince Johnson was denying that a U.S. embassy posted that statement? He denied it. The reporter kept saying, Senator Johnson is on the U.S. embassy website. First he said it was all political. Then when the man told, when the guy told him it's on the U.S. embassy website, they said, "Oh no, it can't be. It can't be." He's in denial, you know. But I'm telling you, Ghana, Botswana, and a lot of those other African countries, Kenya, Rwanda, they're doing well because these guys have the rule of law in place, and people tend to respect those countries overseas. We have lost credibility, serious credibility, you know. And photo ops don't buy you credibility. Your actions buy you credibility.
Right, your actions and your policies. So, you know, it just speaks to this whole thing when we used to say that in order to meet the demands of the international community, that these different governmental infrastructures, the LACC, the GSC, and others, you know, the Freedom of Information Act, were all being set up, but they were paper structures. They were not legitimate. They were not real. On Ellen. And we made those cases, and that was some of the things that probably attracted people to the CDC. But coming in, we're supposed to change all those things.
You're worse off than Ellen, guys, today.
Without question. I mean, like somebody had a post, actually there are 12 words, 12 say, whatever the president wants, the president gets. That's something that I used to say. And that is one of the most asinine statements that anybody can make. No, that's not how countries
That cannot be a democracy. The president, even Biden, doesn't get everything he wants.
Thank you. So what kind of, and you know, that's why the thing about friendly dictatorship and that kind of nonsense talk is what he puts out there. You can't be in that position of sycophant to the president. No, you got to be not necessarily equal, but a consigliere, like or an advisor, somebody who can honestly tell the president, Mr. President, this is not what governance is about. You cannot just try to remove another justice. You cannot just try to do X. You cannot just try to do Y. You got to do things that benefit the country. And once we don't understand that, we don't have that fortitude and will that even if I'm fired, yes, I'm fired. But let me tell the truth here for the benefit of Liberia, the country goes nowhere because, I mean, in all honesty, George Weah doesn't know much about governance. George Weah, I think the central bank, like a personal bank to some extent. Yes.
It's not like Zimbabwe. The solution to every economic problem is to print more money.
Thank you. That is not.
Well,
guys, listen. What do you think McGill and Twe would take back to George Weah? I can't. I mean, I would give my left arm to see them in meeting with him when they will return.
Well, Harry, I would step back.
You would tell we my man, we need to start packing our bags.
No, I would ask, what did they tell him that they were coming to do first? You know, typically a delegation, supposedly quote unquote a high level delegation, is to be clear what their mandate is, what the expected achievement would be, you know, in that press release or that article.
We heard what they said. They issued a statement before they came. They said they were going to come try to pave the way for we had to meet Biden. Do you think that was a delusional thing?
So here's the thing. And this is where transparency comes in place. They can go and say one thing in Liberia, but over here, by filing a Freedom of Information Act request, we can get the actual results of what the compensation was because the U.S. will post everything. They will post everything. So let me just put them on warning right now. Please, when you go back home, speak the truth. Because over here, don't lie. Because over here, we can request that information and see what actually took place.
So let me ask you, Lawrence, I don't know, maybe you know, does the Secretary of State or the Secretary of Treasury have some of those wax statues that they can take pictures with if possible?
I think you're crazy.
No, because in the pictures,
life-size wax statue, right?
Yeah. But seriously, folks, this is our country, and we really, really want these guys to be successful, to do things for the people. And I don't believe necessarily the performance of government gets them elected. You know, at this point, we should really start to educate our people. The majority of our people are ignorant to governance, are ignorant to the right. They are just in a space where they are waiting for handouts. And so, this platform, and Henry, that's one of the reasons I asked you for People TV to be involved. Right now I'm simulcasting on People TV.
Beautiful.
I'm doing it the unprofessional way by holding the camera and capturing this scene and the sound.
You said trying to get a tripod and set it up.
Yes, exactly. I'll go get a tripod for us to be able to do this. But the key thing here is for us to wake up. The only way Liberia moves forward is for the best and brightest to try to elevate those who don't understand, those who are not enlightened. And you have put yourself in this space to be able to be a voice that drives the political discourse that can shape the minds of the Liberian people. So you got to have some level of commitment to enlightening our people and educating them. These guys screw up so much, they give you material for every show. You could do a show for 4 hours. But we should also factor in the education of our people, the civic education, the political education, even the economic education. This platform can be used for us to be able to bring investment to people. This whole integration I keep talking about and transformation of our people, be able to integrate people in the diaspora with people in Liberia from where we really have standards for that engagement, where we have some rules, with people, money will not just be given out. It will be worked into the economy in a beneficial way for that particular individual who meets the standard. Let's say we're asking for somebody to have a business plan, even if they can't write it themselves, to be able to articulate what the business is about, how can they make money, how can they manage the business, maintaining a bank account, paying the taxes. That's the only way we can start to build true governance in our country, with that kind of bilateral relationship amongst ourselves, and move this country forward, because the government is not creating that environment for Liberians to work. So Liberians have to bootstrap and create that environment ourselves for us to be successful as a people.
Let me this person comment just caught my eye. This Liberia Pepper Bird saying Ghana Minister of Finance and Economics Planning Ken Ofori Atta is a co-founder and former chairman of the Data Bank Group. Liberia Minister of Finance Samuel Twe is co-founder of Muya Muya. Liberia Pepper Bird, that is so wrong.
Wrong. Folks, we don't have to ridicule these folks.
But they ridicule us. They call us
It's in good fun. It's in good fun. It's just because this whole administration was a social experiment. The social experiment is I can come in, become president, and I can bring people who are non-technocrats, people who do not have the requisite skills in certain position to build to build a country that needs to be developed. It was a social experiment. You put in people in key position who has no practical experience whatsoever. Even the young man, Martin Coley, is now showing some of these people lack academic credentials. That experiment has failed miserably over the past 3 years, because we're seeing since Madam Sirleaf left, year over year, productivity in the country has fallen. Year over year, it has gone down. Foreign direct investments has gone down. So how is it that now they have all of a sudden they have a surplus, budget surplus, when you're not collecting the same level of taxes because productivity has gone down? So this experiment about putting people in positions that they don't deserve to be in, even one of the senators came out and said Riyadh needs to reshuffle his government. How many times they've been saying reshuffle, and nothing has happened whatsoever?
The man doesn't fire people, guys.
Nah, it's an experiment that's failing.
It demonstrates to me that he has no will, And that was one. That's the funny thing, though. That was one of the things I really thought. I know we are not perfect. I've been knowing the man for a while. But at least I don't believe that even if he corrupt, he will let all the other people be corrupt. But I guess corruption as society, it can be one person. So, so the incompetence, the corruption, it seems like he's just paralyzed, that he can't do anything about it. Or people in the government who are like one level below him, they have their people executing these corrupt schemes that they can't even try to get rid of them. I mean, the stuff is just overwhelming to some extent. The stories you hear is simple people coming to bring investment, and people just want to take other person's guts before they can even really start the business. So all of those things handicapping our economy, and he has to do something about it, or the Liberian people, based on the suffering that they're having, will vote no to the CDC government in 2023. You know.
So,
but
guys,
coming back to the war crime school, I think it's still important for us to kind of chart a path that we really do want war and economic crimes court, be able to identify people out there who support it, be able to continuously make the argument. You know, somebody like Emmanuel Savis, he's consistently out there pushing it. We have been for it for the longest time. We read the articles.
And Isaac, hold on. You see, when you mention him, this caught my attention, right? This is the reason why I've distanced myself from many of these guys. They think this is a glory thing. So we've been talking about war crimes code forever. For all of us. Savage gets up, he makes it a campaign, exclusive, singular agenda item for him. Great. When somebody else talks about it, he gets mad. Why are you talking about it? When do you start talking about it? What kind of nonsense is that? That's why I don't dignify those people, Isaac.
Okay,
him yet.
I'm supposed to get
a glory thing for Isaac, for Larry. It's just stupid, Larry, that somebody will say, oh, now because we're going somewhere now, why y'all want to steal glory? This is not glory.
That's why I said this thing should be the one topic that should unify us, because we need justice. We need justice. Why is it that every other country is rendering justice for the people over there? Roy Belfast, who Alan White discussed yesterday, and we all know who Roy Belfast is, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Chucky Taylor. So Roy Belfast got 97 years in prison to give, because he was a U.S. citizen, and he was the first person prosecuted under a particular law that gives the U.S. the right to prosecute you for crimes committed overseas. Because in criminal law, I'm not a lawyer, so first of all, don't message me and tell me, oh, I'm a financial guy. But listen to this. In every case, the first thing that is decided is jurisdiction, right? So people were arguing whether the U.S. had jurisdiction for crimes that Roy Belfast committed in Liberia, but the U.S. in their law, in 18 U.S.C., it states specifically that the U.S. can prosecute you, whether you're a U.S. citizen or non-U.S. citizen who commit a crime against a U.S. National, for crimes you commit overseas. So when Roy Belfast tried to sneak into the U.S. through Florida and they grabbed him, he got prosecuted eventually.
Yeah. Where did he take that Irish name from?
I don't know, but now he's sitting over in Virginia. And doing 96, and he's in a tough penitentiary, the lead penitentiary in Virginia. That's a very tough penitentiary.
It is.
You know, you have prisoners who, I think it was back in February, 5 prisoners beat and stab another prisoner. So he's doing time, you know.
Now, yesterday when Adam was him, just before he came in, Isaac, he said, well, we grabbed the 2 tailors.
Exactly. Back to back.
I said, oh, yeah, Chucky. He said, yeah, Chucky.
Look,
back to back.
I don't believe that Emmanuel has a monopoly on this whole war crimes conversation.
Nobody does.
And it comes from different angles. So I'm supposed to have him on the People's TV platform. I'll raise that issue with him, whether he thinks he started it or not. And for what I've known him to be, I don't see why his posture will be that way. So hopefully he believes that the space is open, and that's what, even with governance, that's what I tell the CDC people, there should be room at the table for everybody in this country.
Exactly.
We have enough to go around. So the same way, if there's so many different people coming for a purpose, for different reasons, some people want war crimes code because they really want to get that thing behind them. They want to be able to challenge those people who victimize them. Some people believe that it will stop impunity. Some people believe that even that would be a lesson for people. It will bring things to closure and they will be able to continue with their lives. Some people believe a war crime code will remove those perpetrators from within the midst of our society, in the midst of our governance, and be able to take them out. So the benefits of a war crime code are many. And we have to recognize that advocacy for a war crime code is not limited to any one specific group. So we need to get an Emmanuel Savage on board to understand that if he doesn't understand that. So hopefully we can be able to resolve that, territorial mindset if it exists, and be able to move together collectively, because we really believe, or I personally believe, and I know people on this platform many other Liberians out there believe that we need to have a war and economic crimes code. Those people who
Most
go to war with us,
overwhelming majority,
cannot continue to govern us. The thing is, if Prince Joseph were even silent and contrite and humble, it would make sense. But
he's in denial.
He's talking about he will bring stability, he will turn somebody table over. Who is he?
You know, yesterday in the interview, guys, I asked Alan, I asked Dr. White about the Sierra Leone experience when there were all those threats. And he mentioned Hingat Norman, who led the Kamajaws. And we all know the Kamajaws were pro-government, but they commit a lot of heinous crimes as well.
Yes.
And he said Hingat Norman and his folks were threatening, hey, if you catch us, we're going to make trouble, we're going to do this. He said they took the helicopter and they took their private military contractor. I'm pretty sure that those are the guys they use, those tough guys, former SAS and former commandos. And they picked 10 of the 13 commanders up in 30 minutes, rounded them up, put them in the chopper, and took them away. And then I asked Dr. White, I said, then what happened to the 10,000
They show up. They show up.
No, but and that's it. Because people, seriously, is Prince Johnson in the state to go in the bush right now? Or to do any kind of fighting? No, he's not. But that mistake he created, killing people and acting like he forgot who he killed and asking, oh, what I'm here today? You know, so people believe that, oh, he can do this, he can do that. But let's face the fact. The country has to move forward. People like Prince Johnson, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, or whoever hold the huge responsibility for the war need to come before a court of competent jurisdiction, whether if their own peers in Liberia or whether it's a foreign group, and make the case that they did not or be prosecuted for it. And one of the things where I kind of differ with Alan White a little bit, I think Liberian should be involved in this court system. I believe this is an opportunity for us to
reach. He said that though. Isaac, he said not government people. He said credible, well-known, respectable, well-respected private, civil society actors should be the liaison, but not the government.
No. He said liaison. Point of, the lead points.
Yeah.
But not active lawyers or jurors or whatever. And I think this is an opportunity for us to help our legal system get rectified as well. I think that should be part of it.
Would you blame these people to not want to? I said, considering all the reports that have been emanating from Liberia about judicial corruption and all, would you want? The man said, look, if you put local people there, they might be taking money. I said, don't worry, we'll move on from the thing.
No, but he didn't go that route though. He did
not, but I am presuming
that's question and threats, and that's true. That's a possibility.
That's another thing too.
Yes. But
now, let's speaking of coercion and threats, right? Let's veer off a little bit. So, Steve Zago does a 180, just at a literal 11th hour before the Senate vote is cast. He pulls a complete stunt that shocks all his colleagues, and afterwards, what does he say? He said he received a text message. Don't you think this is what might happen? Who did he get a text message from?
Influence. There is some substance to that. I don't know if you remember Christina Tah when she first became minister, how she was getting threats and all these late night calls and stuff like that. I think that case, was it the injured case that she came?
No, it was the former Sullivan investigation into the Korean bust people. Where the NSA busted the Korean guys and took their money, $250 million. In fact, that was the thing that led her to resign, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. She was getting threats, yeah. And from lots of people. And then from the president called and said, leave my son alone.
Yeah. I read her book. It's very interesting. You got to check it out.
A copy of that book. I said, have you read her book?
No, her book is out.
Oh, she has a book.
Yes.
I plan to have a conversation with her one of these weekends to talk about it.
Lawrence, send me the name of the book. Let me get it. And could come on. Chris is my friend, but I didn't know she had finished the book because she actually messaged me when she was in the process of writing the book. I didn't know she had it.
There are very few pages of the book.
I think the book is called The Songs That the Children Sing, right?
Listen to the songs the children sing.
Yeah.
From the opening section of the book, it gives you an insight into the mindset of the Liberian people, including Madam Sirleaf, the very start of the book. But it's not really about Madam Sirleaf. It's from the former Justice Minister's perspective, but it gives you a mindset.
I think I mentioned it in our book as well.
But and as a Liberian parable, that when you come to town, the thing when it's what you were talking, that did happen.
Because their parents they're talking.
Yes, that's a fact. You know, even as a child, the thing that people were talking, I think you can outside and practice and talk. So if you listen to literature, you understand what the dynamic is in the town. You know, and most times young children don't lie. Children don't tell the truth.
Pedro, let me say one thing about something that Prince Johnson said that is kind of laughable in a sense. Prince Johnson mentioned that he has a whole lot of documents that he put away that he planned to reveal at some point. I don't know what he planned. Yeah. I mean, so we know the U.S. at one time was supporting, they were going against Dole. We know how the U.S. can operate sometimes because it's not by accident that Charles Taylor walked out of a prison in Plymouth, Massachusetts.
Of course not.
Jumped in a car, drove down to Staten Island, made his way over to Texas, crossed over to Mexico, flew over to Africa, ended up meeting Thomas Sankara in Burkina Faso, and then ended up training on a U.S. base over in Libya. It's not by accident, you know. So even when Prince Johnson was over there at the Freeport using the walkie-talkie that the U.S. gave him, and he was calling the U.S. Embassy, the U.S. Embassy didn't answer him because they knew of the atrocities he has committed. I don't know what he intends to use those papers for, but it's going to be meaningless because, number one, he has been linked somehow to Linda Jury. That is the key right there. That whole Linda Jury thing, he cannot get away with it. And if he continues to go on the air and start making some of these ridiculous statements, it's going to catch the eye of the Biden administration and the Department of Justice. And I would not be surprised one day he show up in Monrovia and those guys grab him. Here's the thing. Prince Johnson doesn't have the same level of credibility with the U.S. that he had at one time, you know, when things were kind of good with the U.S. He lacks that kind of credibility right now. And because the country, a majority of the country, there are a small segment of the country against the War Crimes Court. There's a majority of the people right now that is pushing for this. The time, for whatever reason, everything has come to a head. I guess the argument between PYJ and Darius Dillon has really opened up the floodgates and really opened people's eyes now to what's really taking place. And he lost that level of credibility with the US. He's lost it. You know, so whatever papers he's got in his vault, whatever recording he has, those things are completely meaningless. You know,
but even let's say if they're meaningful, does that mean that the U.S. cannot change its position based on his actions,
all the
his
time.
direction? So you know, it's not. Yes, it may have a little bit of relevance, but at the end of the day, is it what's happening now in Liberia? What is the best interest for this relationship with the United States? And what do they see? What are their expectations for them to support our economy, for them to help us get out of this economic rut that we are in? So the relevance of Prince Johnson dossiers or documents that he have
is meaningless.
Relevant.
And you think that sitting on the Intelligence Committee, he would get some sort of a heads up, some sort of an inside scoop when the U.S. is coming? Because usually the U.S. will reach out to the host country when they're about to take some action in there. So he thinks by sitting on the Intelligence Committee, the Defense and Intelligence Committee, he would get some type of advanced notification.
But they didn't tell the Pakistanis they were going to invade.
They didn't tell them. What? They
would not tip off Bin Laden.
Where did the U.S. grab Saddam Hussein? And you were hiding in a bunker? I mean, what advance notice going to do for you when the U.S. coming to grab you? So right now, you know, go ahead, Isaac.
No, but like I think even though you were joking, but it's a possibility that he may not even try to come around Monrovia because it's not like they don't have some presence over there. They don't have agents or Marines or whatever capable men over there that could really.
He could disappear one day. The next thing we know, he will be here in America.
Yeah, be here in America on time.
Manuel Noriega, 1989.
1989, they grabbed Noriega. Noriega used to stand up on TV with a cutlass, daring George Bush. Daring George Bush. They
selling drugs.
He was selling drugs, and he was being a double agent with Cuba. A narco president. He was a double agent also with Cuba. And then people started telling George Bush he was weak. And George Bush wanted to prove that he wasn't weak. So what he did? He grabbed 27,000 troops, sent it, and invaded Panama in one day, grabbed Noriega, threw him in prison in Florida.
But you know, Noriega ran into the Catholic compound.
Oh, yeah. First, he ran into the Catholic compound and they started playing.
They got him out. The Americans brought these massive speakers.
Yeah.
Put them all around the Catholic compound and started blasting music.
They started playing heavy metal music.
Heavy metal music, mama. Bum, 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 bum.
He gave up.
Priests in the compound couldn't pray.
He couldn't, yeah. They just said, my man, you got to go. And that's how the U.S. grabbed him and brought him out. Hey, by any means necessary, if the U.S. want to grab you, those guys will grab you. I don't care who you are.
So, y'all send the SEAL team to go pick him up soon morning. No, yeah.
Yeah, but Costa, your interview yesterday was, really interesting. I think it helped clarify some things for the Liberian people in terms of their understanding of what's happening, even though what's his name? I'm speaking for the U.S. government, but you can tell that that's the direction, with potential sanctions, lying in wait for people. So hopefully this is a message to some people to say, we need to change some things we are doing. We need to have a different approach. Let's step back, analyze this thing, and see what's the best way to go for this country. Because if they can't do that, I think there's only one direction that they will be going down. So we want peace in our country. We want a good governance situation in our country. We want opportunities for Liberians. And hopefully this government can start to turn that around. But at this point, the opposition itself is not showing that mettle, because somebody just raised the point. What will change really come with the opposition bring that change? And that's why the opposition has to question themselves. What are they doing, giving all this low-hanging fruit that they are receiving to start to change the minds of the Liberian people in an active way, to be engaged with them, to be able to do one or two demonstration projects that represents what they can do if they were to come to power? What commitments are they making to the Liberian people that, definitely will be having a war crimes code if it's not implemented with this government? Definitely will be having economic crimes code if it's not implemented by this government. Definitely Liberians will be involved in the economy. And this is how we involve Liberians in the economy. These are the specific things we'll do. So yes, they're having the internal competition, but notwithstanding, there should be a unified body to build an agenda that the Liberian people respects, that is grounded in some of the numbers we know. We know, Larry, you and I know some of the numbers are not realistic. Some of them, are fictitious. But at the same time, you can kind of get those numbers, massage them in a way that you can be able to produce something, realistic or close to real, that you can say, I'm projecting all these numbers to make this difference for Liberia. So go ahead, Larry.
Here's the big challenge in Liberia. The population is growing at a rate of 2.5% annually. You have a large number of people entering the workforce, but there's no job.
Yes.
You can't have stagflation. Exactly. You cannot have stagflation. You're not creating jobs. The population is increasing. Every time you try to put money into some development project, the money goes missing and no one gets prosecuted. How do you intend to stay in that position? How do you intend to grow the country, grow the economy, build the country? If no one gets prosecuted, the War Crimes Code is the first step to bringing the rule of law to Liberia. Because without the rule of law, you're not going to develop, right? And let's be frank. If you don't start prosecuting people for crimes being committed, people will continue to do it. Why do you think, Isaac, you don't get up, jump on I-95 in America and drive at 100 miles per hour? Why is it that you don't do that?
Well, I'll be honest, I did it a few times, but
they got another crazy guy. They will arrest you. If you get caught.
No time.
If you're doing over 30 miles per hour, you automatically go to prison.
Right now, it's worse with the cameras and everything. And people can actually call the police and say, look, this nutcase is speeding on this highway. Up seeing he's on highway at this particular point,
But the bottom line, you'll go to jail.
Yes.
You're not going to jail. People are riding on the side of the road, breaking laws. The most basic elements, they're just violating it. Why? Because no one is being prosecuted. That's the problem. But the War Crimes Code is the first step.
But
the Economics Crime Code will be the second step. Let's get these things done.
Myself, Larry. So mornings when I didn't have to do anything early, I would go in the traffic, going towards Congo Town area, going towards Pinsville, and drive in that lane that I use as the third lane and refuse to move.
All right, guys, we're gonna have to go to the phone lines. Let's get the viewers and listeners to chime in, folks. You're listening to a very interesting conversation with Larry, Kennedy, and Isaac Vad, Tukpa, and Boakai, and myself. And once a week, they're going to be coming on. You know, this is a plan. Guys, beginning Monday, we are running a week-long series. And then, of course, you guys will come back on Friday. We just to elevate the conversation about war crimes. I think the conversation with Alan White yesterday really did do us a great favor to reinforce this conversation so we're going to be having beginning Monday real surviving victims of the war. There's a gentleman, tons of people have called. We've already have the whole week is already scheduled out, Monday straight through to Thursday. Friday, of course, is reserved for you guys to come on. And we want to have people share their stories. And some of the stories we've heard so far, they're harrowing accounts. There's a gentleman in South Korea who's told us the name, and he's comfortable with us sharing his name. He's called Jeremiah Wamplu. This man had his ear cut off by Prince Johnson.
Wow.
We have a story of a family in Nimba County. They called us, and several of their family members were murdered in their town in Nimba by Prince Johnson. We have a lot of harrowing stories. There's a family in Lofa. They called us. They've got stories, and they would like to share them, and we want people to hear these stories. So we're gonna have them here beginning Monday, and then of course Friday you guys will come on so we can piggyback off of some of the accounts. People haven't healed, guys. You can't move forward.
Not at all. Yeah. I don't know if you know this guy. Do you know Charles Songwabi?
Charles Songwabi. He's an attorney at law. Yeah, in America.
Yes, his family was involved in the whole Luton Church massacre.
Yeah,
and I have an interest in that. So whenever you have people who come on with that, because I want to write a book about that. That Luton Church massacre where nobody is really taking blame or nobody has been proven to be responsible, even though there's a preponderance of evidence on who actually is. But I think that's something that has to be captured. So it'll be very interesting. I hope, this can serve as history. I hope the people who are coming will be not trying to malign any one person or lie on somebody, but they can be able to tell the truth, because it's very important for cleansing, for people to be able to move on, that they can face these people who have a voice to be able to express what happened with their families, what happened with them, because sometimes in psychology, they say when that traumatic thing happens, people don't grow from that point. It affects them, it limits them. So some people are still trapped in that point. They still having nightmares, they still having all kind of negative experiences.
And the healing and the closure can come from
from being able to talk about it, from being able to get justice, from able to say, okay, this person here, I don't have to worry about them again. I don't have to see them enjoy themselves consistently over time while I'm still struggling with my emotions here. So it'll be wonderful for us to have this war crimes code. So you have people coming on.
And you see, one of the benefits of the hotline that Pedro set up was when Alan White was on, he mentioned that when he was at the Mamba Point Hotel, when he's at the hotel, he now has received information about the people who took the lives of another U.S. citizen.
John Offred in his place.
In his place.
Yeah.
He has information on that.
Bayonet.
And he said it was going to implicate people in the current government.
Yeah.
That is significant.
And guys, there's something else they told me that Dr. White didn't get to see on the show. This is interesting. So the hotline service, the folks who are running it, I talked to some of them, at least. And so they told me that, since we announced those numbers, they actually received checks, pictures of checks. They've received video clips of corruption happening. They've received all kinds of financial transactional documents, things that they're not even given to me. So you guys think I get stuff, but the hotline guys, the people who run the hotline, they've received stuff that I could only imagine I had.
That's interesting, and maybe it speaks to maybe the mindset of some people that if they give it to you, they empower you more, and they don't want to empower you, so they can give it to quote unquote the neutral party. But at the end of the day, they get that information and it can be used to catch the economic criminals.
We don't have a problem.
Thank you. You see,
I got no problem with that. I just want
that's what we
to.
all have to understand. At the end of the day, we want a better country.
This is the way I am. This is why many of the other guys there are not like me. It takes. I believe in collective effort, synergism, us working together. If you supply the information to these people who would actually not just talk about it but do something about it, it has no effect. I'm happy. I'm happy with it. For me, I would just drop the bombshell. Boom. And everybody will talk about it for a while. But they're supplying real substantive information. What Dr. White said yesterday, that the people linked to that attempt to assassinate him, some of them are actually in this government. That was huge.
That was
but I mean, let's look at the timelines. It's only been, 18, 20 years since that particular incident. So the people are still around. Nobody leaves government in our culture. Nobody retires. The people want to stay there until they die.
Yeah, and there's no statute of limitations on murder.
There's no statute of limitation. They're gonna go after them. Well, let's take some calls there.
All right, 0770-102-102-86-010-383, 555-102-102. Let's take this person here. Good morning.
Good morning, Barker. Good morning, Pedro. Good morning to the panelists. It's very interesting. My name is Thomas Asmana from Baltimore. It's very interesting this morning. And I just want to commend Pedro for that interview yesterday with Dr. Allen White. It was very interesting and informative. And one thing I want to reflect on here, Isaac Topa, you are a very brilliant person, but I don't know why you follow WIA when everybody was saying that WIA is not the right person, he's not ready to lead this country. Probably this guy have preconceived idea of coming into power and just corrupting everything. And one other idea you stress here is on Costa Show that we should involve other, people coming on to educate the Liberian people to, open their minds as to what's going on in the country, not only, talking about politics. That's a very brilliant idea as well. And the last thing I would like to say is that Prince Johnson is afraid of his life. That's why he left Monrovia yesterday when that interview was going on. He went to Nima County. He thinks when he in Nima County, they put out of Granny, Americans can grab you anywhere you go. But I know I really, support the idea, they bring other intellectual people on this platform to talk about our country and educate our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas Asumana.
So just to touch on what he said, I mean, he has a point. But in all honesty, if I knew the George Weah that I was engaged with when I was a member of the CDC and trying for us to get to state power, is the George Weah that we see today? Definitely not. Even then, that George Weah gave him a hard time. I tried to make demands on him to be a part of what we're doing, from having our intellectual forums, our intellectual discussions, for him to be a part. And people thought I was being hard on him, not knowing this was where he's going to be, head of state who's removed from the governance of the country, essentially. So,
to Isaac's defense, and I've said this over and over, I think one of the reasons why people had trouble with Isaac in the CDC was because he didn't mince his words, and which is something to his credit, but that also landed him in trouble with George Weah, because while George Weah respected him, but he wasn't comfortable with him. Period. He wasn't comfortable with him because Isaac always spoke the truth, and Weah didn't like that. And I think if Weah had just accommodated people like Isaac more, he wouldn't be in the mess that he is in today. But he surrounded himself only with people who tell him what he wants to hear.
You see, I didn't grow up that way, and then my engagement with Weah was not from a point of, we are a superstar. Even though I've never been enamored by superstardom, I see people are people at the end of the day. They got those same basic functions and they do the same natural things, and it will take different things to drive them. But I didn't have that starstruck impression of Weah. Weah was a friend. Weah was somebody I engaged with. Weah was somebody who could do something I couldn't do, but there were so many things I can do that Weah cannot do. And that's how I look at it. Everybody got a strength, everybody got a forte. But what we share was that love for Liberia. That's what I thought, that we care for Liberia, want to make a difference. And if given the opportunity, we'll really do that. Unfortunately, he has been giving Liberia on a silver platter, and he has not done what he is supposed to do. And people don't want to hear that, but that's the reality. From the time the CDC government started, January 22nd, 2018, Weah and his cohorts departed from what was the plan. And we fought in there for 2 years, but I can't keep hitting my head against the wall. At some point, you got to come with the reality that this is going nowhere and remove yourself, from the situation. And that's what it is. Yes, I take the blame for bringing to power a group that has not lived up to what we all decided that we're going to do any day. But I'm not going to die or disappear because of that. No, I'm going to try to see if we can find a new group of people that will be more patriotic, more nationalistic, and more committed to a better Liberia to work with. That's just it.
Yeah, Mr. Asik, for me, I want to know, do you think from now to 2023 there can be any changes for the CDC government? Can they turn things around to get into the position come 2023?
It's possible because, again, I believe Liberians are forgiving people. If there's a real turnaround, they've been promising what? Restructure or change or whatever, or reshuffle. Let's look at it like this. A deck of cards has 52 cards that you regularly play with. If you shuffle those cards, you just changing cards around. You're not moving some cards in a bad card, like, the cards are bent on the edge where people can know what the number. If you don't change that whole deck, that a lot of times when people gambling, they will change the whole deck. They're not reshuffling, they'll change the whole deck. So until we can change his deck, the odds are stacked against him for success for 2023. But if they can do it and they can bring incredible people, they can bring in people that, and I'm not talking about me, because I can see how I can work with, that kind of situation personally. All I want for them to do is to not restrict me or not stop me from some of the things I want to do,
But I think even that, they try to frustrate everything. Look, the guys are so basic, Larry. We try to get the COP registered because the number of things we do in the country. Look, we just finished our water kiosk thing. We're about to build 3 more water kiosks around. Each of them costing us about $1,000. Right? The guys don't even want to register us. We went to the business registry. We paid. Guys, there are just some basic things that you can't get in the way of it.
You can't stop it. You can't stop it.
You can't stop it. I mean, it's how the phantom, how a whole government can try to stop you registering your organization.
That's the pettiness that, it's just so extreme. And
they're being real petty.
And try to micromanage to the lowest level. It just makes no sense. There's just some things that are supposed to run without the interference of government.
Or not, something happening. But the guys,
it shows how petty. It shows how petty they are. If you feel threatened by just an organization being registered, you should be more concerned the organization is taking to the street and protesting. But registration is something you're panic about. But
when I get to Liberia, I got news for them. No arrest us. I got news for them. I know what I will do when I get to December.
But to Thomas's point, in terms of, like right now, there are people who are supporting the opposition. But what guarantees do we have that the people that you're supporting right now will get in there and do the right thing?
Thank you.
I understand. We can say, hey, some people can say they could see, they had a foresight and knew that Weah wasn't going to be any good. But some people have belief that Weah was going to be good.
And fine. Thank you, Larry. I forgot that point. It was not only Azef Atukpa who thought that Weah were going to try to show his love for country and do the right thing and have the right people. There was a significant number of people who believed that. And there were many people who were on the side. They were not even seditionists, who were willing to support the CDC or support a Weah government.
Because the president
about his performance.
The president doesn't have to know everything. He simply has to bring in
know everything.
He simply has to bring in the right personnel to get the job done. That's why, look, when we sat over at the UN General Assembly, Henry Costa was right on my left-hand side. We sat right in there, and there was a belief that Weah was going to do the right thing, that we can help him. I mean, I didn't know that I used to live on Staten Island, but I used to be at Weah's house in Staten Island. Not much of a big talker, but I knew Weah He's the kind of person you want to sit down with and drink some beer. Maybe drink the little Hennessy XO that Costa always talking about, right? He's a good hangout person.
Very affable guy in that sense.
Absolutely. But at some point, you have to have that charisma, that leadership quality to be able to lead the people, which is what was missing. But to Boyka's point, and Boyka asked a very good question, is it possible for them to turn things around in the next few years? Mm-hmm. Anything is possible. But here's the problem, Boyka. The guy who is leading the central bank has the mandate to boost the economy, keep inflation in check, reduce unemployment. Mm-hmm. The guy who's running the central bank right now, what did he do at JP Morgan? I think he was like a glorified security guard. He doesn't have that background.
He was a box checker.
Yeah, he was a compliance officer. He didn't have that kind of requisite experience to run a central bank. So a lot of the strategies the central bank of Liberia is putting in place, it's not going to help the economy right now. And people are concerned with being employed. If you can't employ people, they're not going to have the ability to buy food, send their children to school, pay their health bills, and all that stuff. They're going to look at that and penalize you at the polls. This is one reason why Dylan won Montserrat the way he did. Dylan didn't spend a whole lot of money campaigning and doing big billboards and all that stuff.
Campaigning was just bought basic paraphernalia. That's all.
People were frustrated with the government. The lack of performance. That's why they're not going to win if the economy doesn't change. And saying that you have a budget surplus when technically you do not, that's not going to help.
Why should we be having a budget surplus when we got so many needs?
Because they are liars, Isaac.
It is fake. The numbers not
liars. Look. I don't know what the mindset is to push this economy or to do something different, and they need help. They got to. That's the first admission, though, that they have to do. We have tried. We have been unsuccessful. It's time for us to turn a new page, for us to invite other Liberians out there to be a part of this thing. If they can't do that, you're in trouble.
Thank you, folks. I just pinned Cecilia Quo. Thank you so much. You just posted the hotline numbers. You can call, provide your tips. If you're in the US, if you're outside the US, those are the numbers to call. I just pinned it right there on the live feed. But okay, let's go back to the phone lines. Let's take a few more calls. Then we'll come back and close up. This has been a fantastic conversation as usual. We've got thousands of people watching and listening via the online platforms. And guys, the last time you guys were here, they by the way, it was last Friday, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. That video has racked up now 59,000 views only on Facebook. 59,000.
Wow.
On Facebook alone. Mm-hmm. Yes. And it's one of the most viewed edition of the show so far. Well, it's still racking up views, but so far that's 59,000.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I got to thank Henry for the opportunity, and just so people know, we're gonna be trying to work with People's TV to get the news out, the message out to more people. Yeah. Again, like Henry said, he's willing to be able to collaborate, to participate with people.
Well, yes.
Doing that doesn't take your shine away. Like some people ask me, why do you help people? Why do you do this? I will introduce people, and I don't have to benefit from that relationship. If they can build something and work together, wonderful. And more people need to start to have that mindset. You don't have to benefit on every transaction you are involved with. Sometimes you gotta let things happen. Sometimes you gotta work with people. Yeah, y'all go back to the calls. Yeah, sorry.
That's the culture that some of us are trying to build. Let's take some more calls there, Boga.
Let's take this person here. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Boga. Good morning.
Oh, your line is not good, my brother. I don't know where I'm getting that grinding sound from, but let's take somebody from this WhatsApp number. Good morning.
Good morning, Boga.
Yeah, good morning. Your name?
Oh, Boga, this is Jack Dolly calling from Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay, welcome.
Hey, you're welcome. Yeah, first of all, I'm very impressed with what Costa did yesterday. But one of the things those are all in the diaspora, I think we need to do is that we need to organize ourselves here and let Washington know that we are ready for the war crime in Liberia and how to protest. Because what's going to happen if the people in Liberia start going out for the protest Joe, we are a government. They're going to send the police again and brutalize these people. But those are in the U.S. here. If we can go to Congress and pressure our Congress that we are ready for the war crime in Liberia, let them give us that support. So that way, when our people get on the street, definitely police guys will not go to brutalize it. Because right now, if Liberians get back on the street, they're ready to send the police and brutalize these people and put them in jail. So let us mobilize those who are in the diaspora, mobilize the people. Let us go to Washington and put the pressure on the people in Washington that we are ready for the war crime trouble in Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you so much from the U.S. Let's take somebody from here in Liberia. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Welcome.
Our leader.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm having to start calling from my temple this morning.
Avin, go ahead.
Firstly, I just want to say thank you very much for the interview that was conducted last night. Actually, your work to see a better Liberia is beyond measure. And also thanks to the panelists in studio this morning. Lastly, I just want to use this medium to hear all those that congratulated me yesterday on my birthday. I'm so honored for the wishes I received, the gifts and everything. Thanks to you as well.
Thank you so much. Let's take DJ Lomé from this angle here. DJ Lomé, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Petro, and good morning to Isaac, and good morning to Larry. This is DJ Lomé calling from the clinic from the second year. I don't have to talk loud of God in the hospital. Look, my brother Larry and Isaac, you said it all. You know, Liberian got a talent. If you have brought some of you in the government, before putting people around me, and other people I can't call here into the government because we were misplaced. That's the reason why President we had to go back to Europe to connect to the people for 71,000 plus. These are some of the things we're seeing here. Liberia will never get better under the leadership of President we are because we are dying. This morning I had to check for my children's tuition. Come to the clean here. And the GSK before we used to go, they were free. Even though you pay little and maybe $5 or $10, and now almost $10 to $70 there. You see how bad the country is. So we have to change our behavior and change the mentality. Look, Isaac, President we can never change, and this government can never be seated for the second time. I don't care what you do. We need time and we need time. What kind of the people have? And you hear the spectator or the people behind it telling you that in Costa paid that make 25,000 whatsoever. So Costa got great money that have to pay somebody to come and say things that are affecting the country. And Costa is doing well for the Liberian people. Thank you very much and have a God bless you.
Thank you. Let's take Noah Zhao Gibson and cross over to Costa and the team. Good morning, Noah.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Our dynamic and energetic, outstanding leader, Comrade American Henry Pedro Costa, His Excellency, and of course, Larry and the other guy there on the previous platform. My name is Noah Zhao Gibson. I'm speaking to you from my usual Somalia Drive, Jakarta resident. Look, Costa, I must say this honestly, you made me proud yesterday. You have just added more reasons why I think my loyalty must be more concrete and strengthened and more solid to you. And I renew my pledge to this again. You have made me that I think the COP, I have just renewed my commitment again to the COP that I remain a real member to the COP. Costa, the interview yesterday was interview that cannot in any way be questionable. You were vindicated yesterday. You were proven right yesterday. And I love the post-analysis aspect, more especially on the Spring FM. People yesterday tried to make you look like you don't know what you were saying. And I love the way you deal with it. Very sophisticated. And let me say this. More surprises are on the way to come. And let me conclude with this. To you, Larry, and the other guy, look.
Just I said,
time. This government can absolutely do nothing at this last minute to time, even if you bring out of the greatest magician on board who have got all of the expertise, they will do absolutely nothing. Things have messed up. The government is incompetent. It doesn't matter who you bring, who you do not bring. The will is lacking for positive transformation. Only change is needed come 2023. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you so much, Noah Zaugesin. Let me take the youth chair of the COP, Mohamed Konen. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Boakai, and good morning to you, Aaron Pedro Costa. My name is Mohamed S. Konen, and I come from Johnsonville. I'm very, very excited to have listened to Dr. Allen Ware yesterday and the interview with our powerful chairman who has proven the critics wrong. Because every day they say they made a blackmailer, they make a lie. It won't be possible for Dr. Allen Ware to appear on a show. But God make it possible. We saw Dr. Allen Ware. Also, they said that they didn't meet anybody in Washington. They did a post. We saw that photo. Let the nation go see. We know what he will have respect to put that temple. He has the proven record of success. He loves his country. He loves his people. That's why he's been advocating for 10 good years, doing everything possible. Justice will be said. Without justice, the society will not move forward. We see real corner of the past. And to post up to the real corner of the past, something must be said. We cannot kill 250,000 Nigerians. Then we have this somebody who says, that creators to come, President did it, we will take care of that. No. What is the prisoner are we setting for the unborn generation? Most people in whatever care for carry one child and what they said president. But now, Nigeria is horrible. So now we created fear person. And we need to take the children. Our employers who give no let us take the other to put out. But today I will say that they walk up and I walk at you. Every time need to carry around. And listen to the phone down there. So far I condemn me yes I hear. They tell me why they are in for their interview to drop us to the started advocating. Yes, sir. I started what economic faculty to the world, criminal and economic criminal.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We take 3 more calls because
we'll take 3 more calls and come out. Isaac, check your WhatsApp. I share something with you.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. Your name, where you joining us from?
Okay. This is Darius Young, and I join you from Asia. Let me say good morning to Henry. Let me say good morning to people Larry and Isaac. Let me say a very big thank you to Costa for that splendid interview yesterday. You know, that interview was not just a mere interview. It was an eye-opener. It was a motivation for the Liberian people. And you know, one thing I want to say is this. I listened to Dr. Allen White, and he said that it all depends on the Liberian people to put pressure on their legislature because they have the gavel in their hand to make the executive, do what they're supposed to do to make sure in breaking the war law to book. The Liberian people have to mount pressure on the lawmakers because they are the direct.
Did we lose him, Bogai?
Well, like we lost Boycott too.
Yeah, they might have connection issue or electricity issue. But yes, we were just about to close up.
That caller made a very solid point because Prince Johnson and some of the people arguing that Liberia was in a party to the Rome statute. So they want to use that to say, hey, we can't be put on trial. The ICC cannot hold us to book because we were in a party to the Rome statute at that time. But Article 12 and 13 of the Rome statute makes it possible for the legislators to reach out, to the ICC, reach out to the United Nations, and then have them run the investigation. So yeah, the call is right. You need to petition the people, and even some of the people who are saying we need to protest in Washington D.C., they're absolutely correct because Washington D.C. can withhold monies to Liberia and force them to take action as well. So yeah, DJ Lamel, nailed a very important point. Inflation is a poor man's tax. It's hurting everybody. The
Yes,
thing that
it
man
is.
used to go to JFK and pay a couple of dollars for it, now it's costing him even twice that amount. We have double digits inflation in the country, and the central bank is doing nothing. They have no monetary policy to deal with that. Because how can you have an excess amount of Liberian currency in circulation at the same time inflation in double digits? So that's a big problem right there. And Noah's Dow gives in. I mean, so the guys, the people they're feeling it. They know what's
Yes,
going on.
and for the poor man, it has compound effects. You know, in so many different ways, it affects them, and that's why a lot of people don't understand. But Costa, that first caller who talked about, you know, a demonstration or protest in the U.S., I think that is necessary. I'll raise that issue with Emmanuel Chavez. I think collectively we can put a lot of people at the Capitol. Now is when, you know, the sensitivity of the American people is higher. Causes that are strong and represent the best interests of people will be taken, you know, more seriously. So this is an opportunity for us, like you said, because we were involved in a lot of the demonstrations against Charles Taylor, against dual government, against bad governance period, and even for this whole, TPS thing, you know, giving Librarians, you know, the right to, DD and all of that, were actively involved. And it's just sad that sometimes some of those people like John Lloyd and, you know, Joseph Besa and other people who were really involved in advocacy, you know, are just so frustrated with the situations that are around today that I don't want to be a part. But we have so many Liberians here who are passionate about a better Liberia, and I'm sure they can be easily mobilized to be a part of that kind of demonstration and show a good force for something that can benefit the country, that we can get more people on board in a collective rather than any one organization thinking it's a monopoly in pushing the war crimes code and economic crimes code agenda.
So, guys, I was reading the comments just now, and somebody wrote, of course, if you read 10 comments, there would be perhaps just one that would be against the war crimes code, and 9 would be in favor. So there's a guy who said, "Why now?" And this lady, of course, Mother Nora Hoax, she said I shouldn't call her. Says Nora, she can be my mother. So I said, Mother Nora Hoax said, "Why not now?"
Exactly.
Justice for my dad,
Exactly.
killed by George Bulley of LPC. That's the way they shot him up. Why not now?
No, but
somebody who's hurting that, don't worry, sit down here, wait for, that's nonsense.
I mean, look, the folks in the CDC and the people who think they're supporting we are not knowing they're undermining his efforts will make these spurious arguments or this is not timely. The same thing with getting a baseline when the government first came to power. Some are advocating, not necessarily auditing, but just knowing where you are, especially at the revenue intake points, the Ministry of Finance, the NPA, the airport, just different government places that were supposed to be transparent, be productive, the central bank. No, in that time, you'll be, undermining the government, the stability. How can regular governance functions be undermining stability? So part of this war crime code, people have to understand, is something that we need as a country. There's no specific time for it. As a matter of fact, the time is long overdue to have a war crime code. The benefits are huge. We just talked about some of them, people putting some of this stuff behind them, it being a lesson for impunity, people being able to face the perpetrators and people who violated them in so many heinous manner that they can be able to get relief from those things. So the benefits are huge for this country, and we have to recognize that we have to advocate for it, and we got to be very clear where we stand. And like you said, the percentages are high towards a war crime code. It's running close to 90%, like you said, from what we see. Majority of the people want a war crimes code, and we need to be able to be those leaders or those people who are getting the front and try to push it on this end or in Liberia for people to say, yes, this is what we want.
Larry, we're closing up now. We've done a great job here, meeting over 1,300 plus people consistently, excluding the YouTube, and thousands listening via the website and MyTuner and Tuning and SoundCloud later and all of that. So great job. The people really love it when you guys come on. In your closing, now come to Isaac for his closing. In your closing, this government, just to piggyback off of what Bwaka said, could they turn this thing around? It's a dual dimensional problem they have here. On one hand, they have a terribly bad economy that's hurting the people. On the other hand, they have a situation with massive corruption, abuse of the law, and I mean, they are swamped. Period. Where do they begin? In your closing.
Well, you begin by showing some leadership and firing and prosecuting a few people to show that you mean business. Is that going to happen? Probably not. You show you mean business by changing the dynamics of the central bank, because the central bank, like I mentioned one time, Jim Carville, the political strategist for Bill Clinton, said, it's all about the economy, stupid. If you don't fix the economy, you're not going anywhere. And they don't have very good monetary policy over there to reduce inflation, like what DJ Lamel just mentioned. You don't have very good policy if your only solution to fixing the economy is to print more money. And people don't understand the dynamics of printing. A lot of people understand that there's a strong correlation between printing money and inflation. But for whatever reason, I'm not sure why the central bank doesn't understand what's going on, why they're printing more money. And in fact, economic data, you always see the impact of it a year and a half later. Right. So even if they were to do something in 2022, the results of that probably won't take place until maybe 2024, after the IMF come and revises the number, which they always do. So the leadership is a huge part of it. Strong leadership is a huge part of it. Prosecuting people for wrongdoing is a huge part of it. The rule of law. And again, finally, no country has ever developed without a strong financial sector. The financial sector in Liberia is extremely weak. People are saying they do not trust the banks. They do not trust the government. We are relying on the extractive industries to support the government. That is not development. That's not a strategy. And like what the guy said to, hope is not a strategy.
No, it's not.
Absolutely not. So, and again, to answer the question of why war crimes court, why now? Social media makes it possible. People are being educated. People are sharing stories. People are coming out there and seeing what's happening. When you can see live, or you can see on a recorded video, an argument between two sitting senators, you get to understand the importance of war in economic crime court. So absolutely, I don't see anything changing right now because they don't have much of a strategy. Because if they did, when the economy went down after 2018, 2019, that change would have been put in place. So you can't have the Federal Reserve Bank running your central bank. You can't have the IMF running your Ministry of Finance, and then you're saying that you are a sovereign nation. Oh, come on, man, get real. So yeah, I mean, Pedro, again, congrats to polling over 7.2 thousand people yesterday, bringing Alan White. People you see, and then people started dissecting the conversation to find holes or something in there to lean on and use as an argument, not in terms of what the conversation, the sense of what the conversation was about, but just to find something to criticize on. It shows a kind of weakness in the whole argument against the war crimes court. People are just nitpicking. Say, oh, Aaron Costa said the number was real, but the number was real. That is not the point. The point is, you first said the man didn't meet anyone in DC. He proved it. Alan White is no small potato, to use Henry Costa's phrase. He's no small potato. This is a very influential guy who has very good footprint in Washington, D.C. So again, Hendro, thanks to you. Thanks to my partner, Iva, and Boycott. Thanks for the work you're doing down there, brother. Really appreciate it.
Okay. All right, Larry, thank you very much. We look forward to having you back here with Isaac on next week, Friday. And Isaac, in your closing, I'd like you to just touch on, do you think these guys have it in them? Because I expected they would do it, or they would have done it after the December 8th political bloodbath at the polls, that they would have had a moment of reflection, sober reflection. In fact, I chatted with Samuel Twe briefly, right after the elections. They seemed sapped, their morale. They seemed open to hitting the reset button. And he even asked me, when we reset, how you will reset to? I said, then I will tune down, because the way I talk is contingent on what you do. You feed me material. That's what I told you. I said, if you tune down on the way on your excesses, then I'm not going to have much to talk about.
Right.
Now, we saw that. They didn't hit the reset button. We've seen what Alan White has said. We've heard what he said. We've seen the rejection and the repudiation they faced, humiliation in DC. What do you think could possibly make these guys sit down and have a moment of sober reflection and actually attempt to recalibrate? What do you think might help?
If they can be honest with George Weah and tell him how dire the circumstances are. But can they open their mouth and say, Chief, all the things we've been telling you that nonsense is not working? Are they brave enough to do it? That's the thing. Most of these guys are spineless. It's not about pleasing George Weah. It's about, can we have a better organization? Can we have a country? If they are committed to Liberia, this is going to say, my man, even the man fired me and said, at least I told the man X, Y, Z. But I don't think it's in them. Look at McGill. McGill's name is McGill, McGill. For George, we have to call you McGee. Our president is McGill. My man, tell me your correct name. Oh, my man, I'm correcting that man.
Can you imagine?
Look, out here in corporate America, if somebody misspell my name, that name John, I will misspell it. I will say Jon. Because you're supposed to know my name. If we're working together, you're supposed to understand my name. So, just that lack of confidence and ability to correct somebody with your own name. If you can't do that, how can you tell him this policy is XYZ? No, he doesn't have the spine to do it. So I doubt if they can correct course, it will be heaven for me, because I don't want to see the Liberian people suffering for another 2.5 years. No, I don't. It's not about me because I can compete in any situation. I'm a professional. I don't need a government job. I need a government that will not restrict me, And there are many Liberians in similar situations. If we don't glorify government jobs, if we make the opportunity for the private sector, the civil society to thrive, people will not be running to. Back in the day, people were not running to government jobs when we were younger. No, they were working with Chase Manhattan Bank. They were working with Lamco. Those were the jobs that people made, real money from. So we need to change mindsets. They need to correct themselves, or they will be corrected off the door. That one is clear and simple. And what people have been seeing here, that people's minds are already made up. I can believe that. I can believe that most people already committed to what their position is in how they will vote. Whether CPP can do what we're saying they will do, or whether they can come up with some kind of dynamic leader or whatever. No, people will vote on that side. A significant number of people's minds are already made up. It's about who the CPP will put forward now, whether they can actually bring that change if the CPP takes power.
That's the question.
Yes. So it's about the CPP now. As much as some people want comments and some people want boycott, can they come together and build an agenda that they can stand behind? Can they be committed to an inclusive government, even if they're only among themselves, and say, let some of the CDC people step to the side? Can they be able to attract other Liberians, or not even attract, because the people will be attracted to government? Can they bring them in and not feel like it's their own time as well? So those are some of the key issues that need to go around. But in the same token, the advocacy, the Henry Costa, the Emmanuel Savage, and some of the other people out there who are trying to make things happen, we need to have a broader collective, that people are not in silos about these key national issues with regards to War and Economic Crimes Code, and get together and pressure this U.S. government, because the U.S. government respects pressure. Though some people think that a demonstration has to be 5,000 people. No, 100 people go to Capitol Hill. 100 people go to the White House to demonstrate. And they can, and with what's happening now with the kind of media opportunities we have to go live from anywhere to push this. And I want some people are asking, 12 years ago, where were you? 12 years ago, we were advocating for War Crimes Code. But where were the outlets to let people know? If Moluba Molu and them didn't jump in the street and say War Crime Code, nobody would know that War Crime Code issues were prevalent in the minds of the Liberian people. But now, because any John Peter can get on Facebook and go live and people listen to him, so these issues are being brought to attention. Yep. So that's why more people need to come together around this. They don't have to join one organization. It can be a collective. The leadership from different organizations, different groups can come together and say, look, let's put one demonstration out. The weather is getting nice now. COVID is receding. Or even if you do a socially distanced demonstration, it will even have more respect. Everybody in mass standing up there, 500 people laid up with 6 feet between them. That's a huge possibility impact. So that suggestion for that person was great. We just need to work together more effectively. And again, thank you. Your interview yesterday was phenomenal. You attracted a lot of different people, I believe, to listen to what you are saying. It substantiated some of the things you have been saying. Like Larry said, this guy, Alan White, has been in this struggle, for a long time. And probably his experience in Liberia, where he nearly could have died if he had stayed in that hotel room, makes him want to make a difference, make an impact. So it's his life's work maybe to be able to bring some of these war criminals to trial and for them to get a day in court. And we should be also of that disposition to try to get these people who have violated our people in such an inhumane way that people cannot get over some of these things. They really, really need to clean their hearts and be able to move forward in their lives from the experiences of the war. So let's try to work towards a war and economic crimes code. There is no exact right time for anything. For those people who are saying why now, now is as good a time as it was a few years ago, as it will be 2 years from now. But now is when we should really put this thing on. We should really pressure this government to bring some changes, to bring in more experienced people, at least for the last 2 years, as they're going out the door, can be a little easier for the Liberian people. But I really appreciate this platform. I want to let you know that on Saturday at noon, we'll be on People's TV with a group trying to push this whole tourism thing, because there's some deep connections between the Gullah Geechee people in the South Carolina belt with the Liberian people and the people, actually the people in West Africa, Liberia, Sierra Leone. They have the strong connections with those people and their culture. Sometimes you even hear some of those people speak. It sounds like a Liberian is speaking, but they are all, Americans in the beer since the slave trade. So we'll be on 12 o'clock p.m. on People's TV, and People's TV really look forward to this partnership with the Costa Show. And Larry and I, not to speak for Larry, but we are excited about this opportunity on this platform and being able to work with People's TV. We have a lot to bring to the people in terms of, from just the general things about governance, about civics, about projects. Why so many projects feel Larry is a project manager, I'm a project manager, and we look at everything from a project perspective and how we can be effective as a people in trying to make some of these changes in governance, in our economy, in our social behavior, and some of these mindset things that we need to change. So we really appreciate this opportunity, and we look forward to working together more and more.
All right, guys. Thank you very, very much. Thanks to you, Buakai, and the team. Sylvester Tevez now. Tomorrow is your birthday, and since we'll not be on tomorrow, I want to say happy pre-birthday to you. Celebrating grand style. I want to say thanks to all of you who have watched, who have listened. And this is how we like to sign off. We'll be back here next week, Monday through Friday. Look forward to our first surviving victim of the war to appear on the show on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then Friday, the guys will come back, Larry and Isaac, our regular guest commentators. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.